Brady getting frustrated. There was drama. He's so good this year, it's boring. It's pitch and catch. And Tampa is the opposite of last year. The offense is way ahead of the defense. The offense has more talent. It's why the Buccaneers now are elite. It's because of their offense. They are so deep now that they literally showcased their tight end O.J. Howard last night, many suggesting they want to trade him at the deadline and wanted people to see that he still got it. This pivot for Tampa from a losing franchise, a team with no momentum, a head coach that comes out of retirement, to winning a Super Bowl, 5-1, every general manager in the league has to look at this and think, let's just make an offer for Aaron Rodgers. That's what I keep thinking here. That Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson, Tom Brady is making old guys moving to new teams, and Russell doesn't really classify, even Aaron doesn't, as an old guy. But I keep thinking about Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. These GMs around this league, two teams, Chargers, Bucks, made an offer for Tom Brady. It is now remarkable. It is so easy for him. And I never see Brady as a cocky guy, but it is so easy for him that yesterday he told Hannah Storm, I'm not joking, I could literally play, he said, until I'm 50 or 55 if I wanted to. I don't think I will. My physical body won't be the problem. It's just missing too much time with my family. He's like, literally, they're showcasing a tight end last night on the road against a team that's not terrible, Philadelphia. He may play till 55. This is, sometimes people do stuff in your business. You don't even have to work with them, but they do stuff in your business and they make you money without you knowing it. Like Brady is making so many veteran quarterbacks money right now. It's now embarrassing that only the Chargers and the Bucks went all in. You're like, what? There's like 9 teams in this league that can't get the quarterback right. It's just hard to wrap your brains around. Loserville, USA, Tampa, Florida, couldn't win. And they are now winning easily on the road, showcasing tight ends. Tom May played a 50. It's hard to wrap your brain around it. Joy with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herdline News.
Well, let's stick with that game last night. The Eagles were a little choppy, but they had some momentum going after scoring 15 unanswered points to come back against the Bucs last night. But a little under 6 minutes to go, Eagles defensive end Jannard Avery was called for a taunting penalty.
I know, it's weird.
After going face-to-face with Leonard Fournette. That call gave Tampa 15 yards and a first down, and the Bucs wound up clinching 28-22, the win on that drive. But after the game, Nick Sirianni took responsibility for his team getting that call.
That's first on me. I got to do a better job of cleaning up all those things. We know that we can't make those self-inflicted wounds. I know that. They know that. We'll continue to harp on that. We'll continue to work to get it right. But again, that was unacceptable, and that falls on me first. And so I got to do a better job of getting everybody doing the right things out there and keeping our composure out there.
It's the right thing for him to say in that spot. And I'm going to try and remain calm here, but my God, I mean, get rid of this. I did not overreact to this when the rule first came out at the beginning of the season and in preseason. I didn't think that it was going to be this bad. But at the point in which a subjective call based off of the emotion of a player.
That's a dumb call. That's just a bad call.
It affected the game.
Yeah, we all know, we can all admit why the taunting penalty was created. For over the top, spike it in your face, where guys get ugly. Not that you're going to get a Malice in the Palace thing, but what you don't want is kids at the game. You still see kids at NFL games. You don't want this, this game's got enough regulated violence. We don't want fist fights. So we get why they're doing it. But there was no moment in the history of football that right
is
there,
taunting,
or a penalty.
But also, that's the problem with the spirit of the penalty. It is a subjective call by the referee in that moment. And it affected the outcome of the game. Now, you can say what you want, that it's Tom Brady and they were going to win anyway or whatever. But the reality is, that's not how history will remember it. We don't know.
Yeah.
It affected the outcome of the game. And what's going to happen is that this is going to affect someone's season later in the year when tensions are higher, when the stakes are higher.
Yeah.
If God forbid it's a playoff game that a call like this is made based off of a ref in a moment saying, maybe that was a little bit too much.
If you look at baseball, what play are we bothered with baseball last night? It's not a bang-bang play at first. It's a subjective call by an umpire at first base, right? It's a subjective call.
Yeah.
The reason the NFL, that we don't generally spend a lot of time harping on officials, NBA, it's like every day, umpiring, because subjective calls are harder. So the NFL, for most of its life, doesn't have a lot of subjective calls. We complain about pass interference.
But also,
This is a subjective call.
We can review a lot of calls. So while really all calls are subjective because it is a human watching something and then making a call, this is a determination of emotion being just part of the game or being too much.
And you can argue over this. You can't argue over offside. You can't argue over illegal motion. Football, overwhelmingly, we argue about pass interference. It's one of the only could go either way calls. That's it.
And then even sometimes those are very obviously pass interference.
So the NFL has given us another subjective call, which is a layer an official now has to, how do I feel in the moment? So I understand doing it, but there's the controversy of calls. We saw it in baseball last night. It's not on the 90% of this stuff. If it's written into the rules, we don't have a problem with it.
Right.
We argue over forcing people, referees moving with the action, and make quick calls on subjective stuff. The fewer of those you have in sports, probably the better.
And this is about emotion. So how do you determine if someone is just jumping up excited they made a tackle or they're trying to incite a fight? I solved this already. We already have the solution. If you don't want people to get in a brawl, which is the reason this exists, right? It's because we're not trying to regulate emotion out of the game. We're not trying to make the league less fun. That's what we were told. This is about keeping people from brawling. The punishment for getting into a fight has to be so egregious, similar to the NBA, that no matter what's going on the court, in the back of your mind, you know you're about to lose this amount of money. You're about to miss this amount of games if you get involved in it. It's an easy solve, and then it takes it out of the referee's hands because this affected the game last night. A little extra note on the Eagles. They just traded tight end Zach Ertz to the Cardinals for a 2022 fifth-round pick and cornerback Tay Gowan.
So Arizona's telling you we're going all in.
As they should be.
Yep, we're going all in. We see vulnerability with the Niners. We see vulnerability with Seattle. So it's a ram. I mean, that's what they're doing, basically. They see their division now. I see a couple vulnerable teams. We're going to double down, get more production. I think it's a great move by Arizona.
Yeah, and the Eagles have been talking about this was coming to an end anyway, so that's a great move for Arizona. So the Bills bounced back in a big way after their Week 1 loss to Pittsburgh, and they are on a 4-game winning streak with 2 shutouts. They also made a huge impression with a crucial win over the Chiefs on Sunday night. And Drew Brees thinks Buffalo's proven they're the team to beat. He said, I think the Bills are the best team in football right now, and it's not even close. What they've done defensively, pitched 2 shutouts in the last 4 games. They've scored darn near 40 points a game. They've got a little bit of everything. It all starts with a great defense and a good run game, and they can do that, supplement that. With their big playability, they're just tough to defend.
Their O-line is their issue. It's kind of middle of the pack, but they drafted 3 offensive linemen. And this organization, last 5 years with this GM, drafts well. So that's their hole. It's not terrible, but they addressed it. So last couple of years, they've gone big D-line. They had no pass rush. Now they've gone and addressed the offensive line. So my takeaway is this offense could get better as the season goes, because O-linemen take a while. So, I mean, they're just really well run. Again, we talk about this. Good owner, good GM, good coach. You know, you hit on Josh Allen, but upstairs, they got a bunch of smart people.
They're very well run.
Yeah.
I think it's splitting hairs between the Bills and Arizona, but the Bills have a lot of momentum right now, and they are working it. So Odell has not had a huge impact on the Browns' offense, at least not what they would have hoped for. And he said he's not worrying too much about how many targets he gets. He's worried about winning a championship.
I can't sit there and lie like I don't want the ball. Like I tell you, every time I get up here, they don't play James Harden for defense. You know what I mean? He's a shooter. Like I feel like I'm a shooter. I know that I bring a lot of attention to defenses on the other end, and other people are going to be open. And you just got to live with that. The ultimate goal is to win the championship, and I feel like I'm in a great situation to do that.
Well, he's missed 33 total games due to injury in his career, which has been an issue for getting some momentum, similar to the Tua conversation. It's hard to get some momentum going, especially with Cleveland's. I don't know that this is really an issue for Cleveland's. I think that Odell, and we've talked about this a lot, I think Odell has done a really good job of buying into what Cleveland was doing. I don't think it's ever been a good fit for Odell there. Not anyone's particular